Hey everybody, Trip Williams, Sober Journey videos, and I wanted to touch on a couple things after our last video where I talked somewhat about the decision to get sober, and now I wanted to follow up with some of the withdrawal symptoms you're going to be experiencing once you do get sober if you're a heavy drinker. The first two I want to talk about are lack of sleep and feeling shaky all the time. So with the lack of sleep, I do remember that like when I was just trying to get sober, there were a few times where I amidst all the daily drinking I was doing, a couple days in a row I would go without drinking and you can't fall asleep. Your body's gotten so used to alcohol-induced sleep, that which isn't real sleep, that when you do try to fall asleep not under the influence of alcohol, your heart is racing all the time, and you can experience, like I did, like heart palpitations, like your heart's like boom, 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 boom. I don't even remember. I know my pulse rate was really high. But it would be like every once in a while I would skip a beat. And so I'm laying there in bed and my heart's racing like I practically was out running. And you're just laying there 4 or 5 hours at a time sometimes, and you can't find. Eventually I would fall asleep, but it would take a long time. And if you're just getting sober, that's just kind of something you're probably just going to have to deal with. It'll go away, but it might take like a couple weeks for it to subside. I remember this one instance in 2014 when I was experiencing extreme abdominal pain, which ended up being pancreatitis, and I'll go into that in a later video. But I had to drive myself to the ER. I wasn't even sure if I was going to make it. I practically like crawled in through the ER door and checked myself in. And while I was in the gurney, eventually, the doctor came in and he was like, "Your pulse rate is through the roof." And I was just kind of playing it off like, "Oh, I don't know, my stomach really hurts. I'm not sure I knew why I was there." And eventually he came back. He went away, I guess, and checked some test results. I was on an IV bag. I went through like 4 IV bags before I actually had to pee. He comes back and he's like, "How much do you drink?" And even still, I was trying to play it off like, I don't know, like kind of a lot, but I don't know. Like, so eventually I kind of leveled with him and told him, like, yeah, I'm drinking a lot, like every single day. And I ended up having to have my gallbladder, like practically like emergency surgery, taken out. But yeah, so once you get sober, your blood pressure is like through the roof. So until like your withdrawal symptoms subside, like you're going to be experiencing an elevated pulse rate. And when you try to go to sleep, you're probably not going to be able to go to sleep. I recommend trying to get in a lot of exercise. It's literally just kind of wear your body down, and that should help as far as falling asleep. The second thing is the shakiness. I do remember feeling shaky. Like, you remember when you were in grade school and the teacher would call on you? You'd be like, "Mr. Williams, would you like to come to the board and do a math problem?" And you're like, "No." That empty bottomless pit feeling in your stomach, that's kind of how it feels like when you got that anxiety-ridden feeling in your gut. And anything that make you like nervous, just the least little bit, your hands start to shake and you can't stop. I remember when I got sober, like a couple days after my father came to get me, I was at home, my parents' home, because basically that's the only place I had to go. And I was at home, and I called a doctor's office, and they were trying to give me directions how to get there, and I had to write down the directions, like handwrite, and I couldn't write it down. I had to physically like concentrate on writing the lines on the paper with the pencil because my hands were shaking so bad. So the tremoring is something that you're going to be going through. It's not uncommon. It'll go away, but it might take like 1 to like 3 or 4 weeks for it to subside. So it's rough. The feeling, also like you get kind of cold and clammy, and when you get in that shaky feeling, the nervousness, they call it like white knuckling. I remember when I was going to some AA meetings, and that's something we'll get into also. AA meetings, they called it a white knuckling, when you're like, kind of tensing up because you're trying to get through it every single day. You just got sober and it's terrible, but you gotta get through it. You made the decision. You want to do it. You have to do it. Eventually it's gonna be okay. But for a while, it's kind of gonna feel like hell. So, look, I hope this helps. If you've made the decision to get sober, God bless you. I'm praying for you. I hope you're all the best. But I'm making this video just to try to help and let you know, like, what, from my perspective, like what I went through, and I hope it helps. So, if you like this content, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and I'll catch you in the next one where we'll talk about a couple more withdrawal symptoms. Take care.